I'll second that.
All in favor? Approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
Motion we approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Department head committee chair updates. Seeing none, I'll move on to old business with the old patrol car.
So, I did speak to Shapley, and they would like to move forward with their continued original plan. If they want to, originally there was going to be $1,000 minimum for the vehicle, and they are okay with selling it back to the sheriff's department for that price if they're interested, if the town of Acton will go along with that.
To, instead of putting it out to bid, just get the 1,000 from,
Right, the minimum bid was 1,000, based on the miscommunication and the $600 the sheriff's department has indicated they've put in it to put back into their fleet. They still think they owe the taxpayers and they should get at least the minimum out of it. So it'd be 500 per town.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get much more than out of it if you go to bid.
I mean, we talked about that, we looked up the blue
Yeah.
book, I mean, based on the 185,000, and it was originally stripped out, or even if we sold it again, they'd have to re-strip it out, because,
Right.
so, but
Yeah, I'm
that's
fine
up
with
to you,
that.
if that's enough or not enough, or how do you want to see it handled?
well, I don't want to be in the car sale business, so I think that instead of asking them to take everything back out and trying to get what, maybe a couple more hundred
Yeah.
to split, it's probably worth the 500.
Yeah.
So we'll
I'm happy with that.
approach this.
We've used it for, 5 years, and granted, we paid for it, but, yeah. Yep.
And I don't know that they'll give us that. That's the proposal we're gonna submit based on both towns.
Yep. Now, if they don't do that, then we can go out to bid,
Right.
so.
Okay.
Yep.
Treasurer job description.
So last week, you went through this with the treasurer, a couple of grammar and minor things that were changed. And then the statement that was put in there, treasurer shall perform such other legal duties as directed by the Board of Selectmen, that term that you have in all three of them. So it just needs you to initial, formally accept it, and initial by the adoption date.
We didn't vote on that last week, did we?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt the treasurer's job description?
I'll make a motion, we adopt the treasurer's job description.
And I'll second that.
All in favor? Okay, deputy CEO.
I'll let Ed handle that one, since he sat in on the interviews, and
Wait, thank you.
welcome.
Yes, we did. We interviewed 4 people yesterday. 3 of which were applicants from outside the building, basically, and 1 from inside. All had good traits to them. There is one that's better than the rest that we feel would be the way to go. That would be, I guess we can discuss what we kind of discussed it last week. Do we want to delve into that?
So I guess I need, so you're interested in moving forward with the reorganization that we
I
talked about?
think so, yeah. One of the candidates was from in-house here. That the person can hit the ground running, knows the job, knows the issues and whatnot. And we had talked last week about restructuring, basically moving Brenda from what she is now
Land use secretary.
as a land use secretary over to the assistant CEO. We did talk to her about getting some certificates and some training and whatnot. She's all for that. And then bring in someone as a new secretary. Once again, she can hit the ground running. She's been down there. She's worked for here for 5 years? We feel that she was the best qualified candidate as well to handle it. So I think, in discussing it with Ken and yesterday and whatnot, I think that makes the most sense for the town, and it best spends the dollars that we have to spend. There's practically zero training to be done. I won't say zero, because she's still got to get some get some certificates and whatnot. But as far as general knowledge of the department and whatnot, it's ready to go now. You're not going to bring someone in that doesn't know the processes and whatnot, so.
So I'll sit down and we'll draft that restructure and see how it looks. So we're going to need your approval to start advertising for the secretarial position, which essentially, to stay within the budget, will be only 20 hours because the individual won't be able to get benefits to stay within where we're at. So we'll draft up something to start posting that, and maybe next week you can look at numbers and we'll figure out how everything will work out.
Yep.
That's what you want to do?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Ethics policy, Williams, follow-up.
I went through all of the public comments last week, and you must have seen them in the minutes. This was the only one really that was a question per se, so I didn't know if you had any thoughts on it, or if it's something you wanted to pursue, or you're all set with, and I will remove it.
I'm all set with, I don't think we need to pursue an ethics policy at this time.
Okay?
No,
I agree.
I do agree with you.
Any follow-up? Mr. Williams?
I'm sorry, no, I have none.
Okay.
I think every organization ought to have one. And if somebody who works for the executive of this town has done impoliteness or something.
He's come to the podium.
Yep,
Yep, come on up.
so,
Looking at it, that's all.
okay, we're good. New business. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, we're going through all the policies now. When we get to the end of going through all the policies, yeah, we'll think about it, but as it sits right now,
We're good.
we're good.
Carol Long from Flat Ground Road. Yeah, I was
Carol
gonna
K.
say Carol K. We'll call you Carol K. I know you said it
Just
once,
wanted to
and
see
I
if
was
you were
like,
paying
I'm gonna
attention.
remember that. Kamazuboomwe.
What was that?
Kamazuboomwe.
Carol?
It's a boom way.
Carol?
Yes.
I am
Carol K.
sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
Carol K is what I call her
Carol
now.
K.
Sorry,
Works.
habit.
Yes. So basically, I wanted to address this issue with you guys regarding Flat Ground Road. It has been brought to previous boards. I'm hoping to have a little bit better luck with a new board. Basically, the papers that I gave you are just things that I'm going to reference while I'm speaking so that you have copies of it. In 1960, the town meeting voted to close Flat Ground Road subject to gates and bars. Closing the road at a town meeting, in my talking to some legal advice, legal counsel, usually would be something that would need to be revoted on every year. It's not a forever thing when you vote to close a road, because closing a road is a temporary action. But when this was brought to the board last January, the board consulted with Joe Lankowski, and he responded in writing, and you have a copy of his response. And basically what it says is that he believes that when the town voted to close the road, what they were really actually voting for was to discontinue the road. And that was his opinion. And then, so that came on February 2nd of 2016. I guess it was really 2 years ago. And then in March 30th, the board also consulted with MMA. And the response from MMA was that if the town way was not properly discontinued, then it remains a town way. The select board is not required to reinstate the road, nor does the board have any authority to do so. However, this does not mean that the board does not need to take any action. Since the town is required to maintain town ways, the board may need to discuss maintaining the road with the road commissioner. I'm just going to skip over some parts. It said, if there's still support for discontinuing the road, then the board may consider starting the process to discontinue the road properly. The other things I have in here, I did print off the section of the state statute that goes over the steps to properly discontinue a road. And then also, I did include a legal case where a resident sued the town of York. Basically, it's almost an identical situation where the road wasn't discontinued properly. What I'm asking for you to do is to please go through all of this and make a decision, because the residents on Flat Ground Road are in a very tough position. We're not a private road, and we're not acknowledged as a town road. So we cannot legally form a road association, and then the town's not maintaining our road. So that leaves one individual bearing the cost for maintaining that road by themselves. It's not fair, and it's not right. I'm asking that you make a decision, one way or the other, so that we can move forward accordingly. Okay?
How many full-time residents are on the road?
There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 12
12 houses and they're all year-round?
year-round. 12 year-round.
Are there
yeah.
any other that are not year-round?
No, there are
The vacant land.
vacant land that people may come in the summer and hike and camp and stuff like that. And the other piece of it is that most of that land down there is in resource protection. And if it's taken care of willy-nilly, we're really putting the environment at a risk. Having untrained people maintaining it and so on and so forth. Like, one neighbor decided that he thought it would be a great idea, to redo the ditching, and it wasn't done properly, that type of thing. So I really am concerned, I'm very into the environment, but I'm concerned about the effects of, non-professional care are going to take.
So why do you, so you're,
I would like to see, my preference would be for the town to take care of the road.
okay, so
but
why can't you be private?
Because we were never discontinued. We are a town way. If you read the memo from MMA, it clearly states that the proper procedures were not followed. When you look at I don't remember where it was, hold on, when you look at the court case, one of the things that they say is that discontinuance of a town way except by abandonment after September 12th, 1959 shall be valid against owners of record. Basically, we were not, nobody has ever been, you're supposed to notify the landowners that the town is discontinuing the road. Damages are to be paid to the landowners if you're discontinuing it, if any. It all is in that or the state statute, but it wasn't done properly. There's nothing on the registry of deeds saying that it was discontinued as a town way. So it's just, either need to discontinue it or acknowledge it. But leaving us in a land of limbo for 50 years isn't really fair.
So it's been closed since 1960
Yes.
as a town road?
Yes.
Closed as-
There was a period of time where the town plowed it and graded it a couple times a year in my lifetime. So the town did take care of it sporadically. I think it was like a course of maybe 10, 15 years. I don't know without doing the research on that. And then it got lumped in with the camp roads when they stopped maintaining camp roads. And then it's just sat since then.
I believe it's the only road in town with this circumstance that Carol's talking about.
Yeah, it is an exception.
Once a road and it never really.
Right, yeah, because it used to go right into New Hampshire.
Yeah, and I have additional information to back some of the information she has and some of the selectmen got, but I'd rather disclose it to you outside of a meeting first, and then you can decide how you want to deal with it.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
you.
thank
We'll put it
you.
on the agenda for
Thank
next
you.
week.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so read this week. Let's read it.
2005 Ford ambulance bid openings.
So that was scheduled for today. We didn't get any bids. Here you're going to find an email from Smart Shopper saying that 2 weeks they inadvertently forgot to run our ad, but it was submitted. So I guess I would suggest
Run it 2 more
re-advertising it.
weeks?
You want to
Yeah.
bring it
Put it
through
back
middle
out.
of February, or how far out do you want to go?
Yeah, middle of February, I think would be fine.
So a month
weeks.
out? So how about February 13th? That's a Tuesday?
Sure.
Sure.
And the boat, I don't know if we actually had the official conversation. We're going to hold off until spring. There's no VIN numbers on it. We haven't been able to track any down. Inland Fisheries actually has to come out and reassign some numbers. We didn't feel like anybody's going to get a lot of take on it this time of year anyway, so we'll put that out to bid in the spring.
Okay. Budget request worksheets.
So here are your packets. These are your initial request worksheets. This is everybody in general government, starting with the secretarial all the way down to the town gym. Some of these numbers will be filled in for you from your department heads, but this is essentially what needs to be completed. The treasurer and I would like to have a workshop with you to start going through some of these. We're starting to get contract renewals in, and just kind of get some ideas of what you want to see in the budget. Start picking away at it.
Do you want a date?
I do
to
want a
meet?
date.
What works for you guys?
Is there any way we could do a Monday maybe at 4? Tuesdays at 4 are difficult. I'm not sure we're going to get through in an hour. If we could do one Monday together.
Yeah, I can do
fine.
any day as long as it's 4 o'clock or beyond. Yep.
So,
So the budgets are due, so any time really we could do. You want to shoot for January 29th? It's 2 weeks from now.
sure.
Yep.
So we'll post a workshop on the 29th at 4 o'clock. If we can at least get through the general government, the rest of the, or actually, let me ask you this. So do you want to do it on the 5th, only because the budgets are due from your department heads from the 2nd? So those numbers would all be filled in, so you'd have a better
that
idea
would
of
be
where you're
better.
at.
Unless,
So if we meet the Monday after,
So February 5th instead.
oh, that's Michelle's birthday. Let's not meet on February 5th. All right, back to the 29th.
well, how much will we be able to do a little on the 2 different days?
Yeah, I mean, we can,
So it won't be so bad?
yeah, well, and if you go through and look at it, like I said, a lot of it is department heads, the treasurer, registrar of voters.
What
So let's
about-
stick with the 29th. And then, once she gets all the numbers in, it's gonna be a little while before she gets county, we can meet again another Monday in February before you meet with Warren and Finance to look at what it does to the overall budget, once everybody's in. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right, so the 29th at 4. So you can start scratching on this or making any notes, decide any thoughts if you want.
All good. Marriage ceremonies policy.
I've been trying to get through the policies. We're kind of at a point that most of the policies that we have left looking at, the attorney is still looking at the Freedom of Information. We've sent an email off to First Advantage, who covers our drug testing by state law, to see if there's updates on that. The direct deposit, the check cashing, the foreclosure, they're all involving other departments, and I think that it's wise to get their opinion on it first. So I've got them looking at it, but this is a simple one. It's only 2 lines. I thought we could get through it tonight and see what your thoughts are on it. So this was adopted back in 13.
Town employees who are qualified to do so are not permitted to conduct marriage ceremonies during their scheduled work hours. Any persons wishing to reserve the Acton Town Hall during regular business hours for the purpose of a marriage must provide their own officiate and also check the availability of the building with the Selectmen's secretary. So basically, change that last word to town administrator.
Thoughts on this policy, or you want to keep it the way it is?
Nope, I got that one change. I think it's fine.
Not much in those 2
Right.
sentences.
Pretty clear.
So we want to continue to prohibit them,
Yes.
okay?
Resignation.
That's us.
It was sent to the entire planning board, so I think you're good to read it out loud. I was just read it's a planning board resignation.
Dated Monday, the 15th. It It is with regret that I inform you that I've taken a position with York County Community College as an adjunct instructor in the Navy Yards Apprenticeship Program. My responsibilities include teaching operations management, a class which is scheduled Monday through Friday from 4:30 to 8:30. I'll also be teaching math and physics classes as the need arises. Since I'll likely be teaching these classes until I'm really old, and not merely old, attendance at planning board meetings would be sporadic at best. So I'll miss you. I found you to be an affable bunch and always felt welcome at our meetings. I trust you'll continue to do a wonderful job upholding the mission of the board and remain faithful stewards of our environment. Sincerely, Link Marston. How long did he serve? Link is a man, I'm assuming.
Lincoln, yep. He's been on there for a few years now. His term is good through, I think, 2020.
So we'll have to fill that.
Yeah, so,
Make a motion where we accept it with regret.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you for your volunteerism, Link.
so we'll take a look at the bylaws, look at the alternates, determine if one of them is qualified to move up to the regular position, and then I'll bring back to you the advertisement for the opening.
Okay.
How long do you want that to run for?
So
Couple
it's-
weeks?
Yeah,
3 weeks?
2, 3.
Okay.
Public comment. Sorry, public comment.
Hi, Lois Mishu, taxpayer, but I'm here tonight representing Maple Grove Cemetery Association. I asked before about the information on the Hebo-Hibo to be presented to us as a group. I would like to have it before spring because we're getting together. I know that the conservation is planning on making a movement, and we need the information. I did speak to Jen a while ago, but this was between everything else going on.
So pause for a second. What information?
In other words, anything.
What are you
the-
looking for?
Anything the attorneys have sent him.
Yep,
For
so
information,
I left-
anything that pertains to the Hebo-Hibo, either what they plan on doing and so on and so forth.
Yep,
Are you
so
talking about
if-
the town land? Town-owned land out back or the
Yes,
road
you-
itself?
You have to go through the road itself to get to the town land, so yes.
So the board, you heard the recommendation from Lankowski, and you were here, and you got that recommendation from Lankowski saying that there was a public easement down through there.
Yes, and the
Okay.
size has not been granted either way, but
well,
I
let-
also have more information to add to that later
Let me-
on in the future afterwards.
Okay, so that piece, that happened. The board, the only other thing that's happened is the board granted permission for the forestry to send out that letter that you guys read aloud to property owners that abutted the road. to
Right,
see
but
if they were
I would
interested.
like this in writing. I would like all of it, because I have to present
Well,
this to
I mean, there's
people.
one letter, and if you want to stay after the meeting, I can give you a copy of that, but
But what
you
about the
also-
information he gathered up to get to this point? I asked for that quite a while
Okay,
ago.
and I can get it for you. You also spoke at a public up here a couple times and said that you had, didn't she tell us that you had a lot of information, you had gotten some legal opinions and stuff
I had
too?
gotten some, but at this point, both legal opinions might have to be thrown out because we use the same attorney.
Okay.
It's a conflict of interest.
We had a very brief letter that the board read on the record from Lankowski saying that after researching it, he felt like the,
Yeah,
there
but
were
the
still
problem
public
is that
ways.
we share the same attorney and we're on the wrong side, so it's a conflict of interest.
What is he telling you?
I can't get into this, but I'm saying it's a conflict of interest. I have paid him money to work on another issue. And by
On
giving him-
Hebo-Hibo Road?
No, on another issue. But by giving him money, it's considered a conflict of interest because I've paid him as an attorney in general. I have,
So,
the
I'm
information that I
confused.
have is my personal information. It doesn't come out in public, it is my information.
That has nothing to do with the cemetery.
I didn't say that.
Does it have anything to do with Hebo-Hibo Road?
It has something to do with the cemetery, yes. But it has nothing to do with,
I'll speak to
yeah.
Lankowski tomorrow and get
It's
to
a
the bottom
conflict of
it,
interest.
I
But
mean,
it's not that I have anything against Joe either way. I
I
trust him. I think a lot of him. Obviously, I've gone to him for my own personal information. I've gone to ask for advice when we've had issues on the cemetery as well as other things. So I trust him 100%. It's just there's some things that, because you can't have the same attorney if one is on one side and one is on the other. It's a conflict of interest. And some of the information that he's gotten for either side technically possibly, technically cannot be used.
Yeah, and in his defense, I mean, he's clearly not here, and he is the town's attorney, so
Right.
I have to believe there's more to it. I'll have
Exactly.
a conversation with him tomorrow
That's
or
fine.
Thursday, and I'll reach out to you privately, but.
Yeah, because this is something that, like I said, I think the world of Joe, I think he's
Yeah, no,
doing
and I
an
don't think we should
excellent.
continue to discuss him if he's not present, but
Yeah.
I'll get you, the only thing that I have is the letter that.
Well, that letter came in the mail, and that's something that this is
So you got a
offset-
copy of the letter?
No, I've got a copy. Offset from that, now I'm bringing a different hat on. My problem is that when they start bringing on this information, I need to have it so I can be present and not be at warrant and finance information I have to do at this point, because right now, we're in the middle of the budget season. So this is something I'm also asking Jen as administrator to work it out, that we can actually make the meetings when the conservation has these meetings, because it's difficult enough, because they're right in the middle of budget season, and I have to be there also. So I'm kind of working with two hats here, and that's why I said I'd back off.
They're meeting tonight at 7, correct?
Who?
Conservation
I have
and
no
Forest?
idea.
But you're not on those committees?
I'm
you
not
just
on
look-
that.
okay. So the best thing you can do is really keep an eye on the town's website, because I don't schedule their meetings.
I
post
realize
them
that,
accordingly.
but what I'm asking you is to make sure it does not conflict
I
with
can't do
another.
that. You gotta talk to
How
the
am I
chair.
supposed to be at both?
Well, you're not
You
on
need
the
to talk with-
Conservation Forest Committee.
No, but when they invite us to the meetings, this is part of that letter, is when they invite us to meetings.
Contact the chair.
Contact the chair, then his number's on the letter, you said you had a
Exactly.
copy of it, and give him that concern, and I trust that they'll address it.
Okay, because because especially if they're gonna start in with the Hebo High, because like I said, I have other information. I spent most of the weekend talking with DOT and a few other people up north, and I have more information
Okay.
on this that I didn't even realize, and it came to light. So, I just want to let you know that I just don't want a conflict. I want it so I can be at both and do what I'm supposed to do for the town, as well as be beneficial all the way around. The
But you
Hebo-
understand we don't schedule those meetings.
I realize that, but my biggest thing is that they know, I know that they go to you and also put them on calendars. I do the best I can to approach all of them. This is why, even when I have my own meeting, I try not to overlap somebody else's.
Right.
Only reason for that is because it's not fair. Everybody likes to attend meetings. We got a group that really would like to attend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
Okay, moving on to announcements.
No other, that's it?
No others? Let's see, the 18th, I have the Selectmen hours from 7 to 8 this Thursday. February 2nd is the budget deadline for department heads and committees to turn their numbers in. February 4th, the super sledding. I think this is the second annual.
fun.
Did you want to read it?
Sure. They're having a Super Bowl sledding party. It says here, join us on Holdsworth Hill in Acton on Sunday, February 4th from 10 to 12. They'll have free hot cocoa and snow cones. Bring a chair and sit by the fire. Soup donations are going to be accepted for the Acton Food Pantry, and it's sponsored by Action in Motion. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of Terry Minahan. There's a phone number here, 636-1916. Sounds like fun.
Does it say Action or Acton? Oh, Acton.
They say action and motion?
I was
Well, we're going to be in action when we're sliding down that hill.
So you'll be there all,
Probably they're going to drag me. They're dragging me this year. It is from 10 to 12. You're welcome.
Okay, upcoming meetings. The road committee meets tonight, right after this meeting at 6. Also, the Conservation Forestry Committee is meeting at 7 tonight. The Planning Board meets on the 18th at 7. The Marijuana Committee is meeting on the 19th at 6. The Board of Selectmen meets again on the 23rd at 5. As long as, the Cemetery Committee is meeting on the 25th at 5. And the Board of Selectmen meets again on the 30th at 5. A motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Good night.